Well, it has been over a month since I have uploaded a video, and I did let time just sort of fly away as I've been enjoying the current league. And since Leagues is just about at its halfway point, this is about the time that I would normally release a video on something in true car guy fashion. And in this league, I'm just gonna talk about what I've done, what I like, what I don't like, maybe some thoughts for the future, and I'll probably end up yapping this into a ridiculously long video. I'll try not to, but we'll see what happens.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
And well, we should probably start off with the main thing about Leagues, which is all of these relics. And here are the ones that I picked. I think they're pretty much the common path that everyone has picked. Excavator is definitely the strongest because archaeology relics and whatnot. There's a lot more that archaeology ties into than something like, say, woodcutting and divination or hunter and fishing. If this was just mining and smithing, maybe you'd have an argument for the others, but who knows? I picked Farming Frenzy because doing farm runs is something I've never been the best at, especially on an Iron Man, like getting all the seeds and remembering to do stuff. Although getting seeds on here with the XP rates isn't bad, but I like the instant farming. It's a very nice thing to have. A 5-finger discount isn't bad, maybe if you're trying to only farm clues from that, but clue methods are all combat focused, so I don't really see this being beneficial in the long run, especially when a lot of late herb lore stuff requires a high farming level. Now this is where I think I've deviated from the main path. I think most people have picked Assassin's Insight. I went Voidwalker because of all the different teleports. I thought it was just a nice general thing to have. I can see where Assassin's Insight is definitely useful, but the one thing I really liked about Voidwalker, I didn't know it when I picked it, but the nice thing that I like about it is I was able to just instantly teleport to Tarn's lair for the Salve Amulet E and not have to go through that stupidly long puzzle because I have a Ring of Slaying on my Voidwalker thing, the Abyssal Conduit, and I found that to be pretty nice. Tier 4 Clue Connoisseur is the clear winner. Maybe if Production Master had something to where smithing was significantly faster, then I would consider it, but Rejuvenated is absolutely a meme, and Clue Connoisseur is so strong. The only thing I wish about Clue Connoisseur is that also all of your hidey holes were instantly filled, or you just had a Omni skip ticket that just skipped everything, all puzzles, all costumes that require a hidey hole, just anything like that would have been nice to see, but the perk itself is pretty nice, so that's why I went there. For tier 5, there was only 2 clear picks here, Barbarism and Soulborn. Barbarism is the melee one, and it's the strongest by far. Like the 10% healing, 500 base damage increase. The weapon attack range by 1 is nice and definitely unique to melee, but something like crit strike damage increase for magic. Also, the first 3 are the same for all of them, but like range was absolutely useless. Like 95% chance this should have been like an Omni Quiver or something like that that could just save 100% of arrows used, or you just select an arrow to be used or something like that. Crit Happens should have had like an Omni Rune pouch with it and then done more combat specific stuff. I think this is where most of the letdown is in the relics, although I will say that I think they made melee the clear choice here for people that want to go learn melee but didn't really want to in the main game, so they all picked it here with a 10% healing and learned the style that way. And for those who didn't know anything about combat, this necromancy one is actually pretty strong. The 25% larger necromancy spirits, that's so dumb. I've had to PVM with people who've had this, and trying to see things with how large these spirits actually are, I personally can't stand it, but everything else about this effect is actually really strong. So if you've never done combat and you just want to go really safe, then I would go with this one. But then again, I think they set it up this way because I know a lot of people who always talk about wanting to learn melee. Well, here's your opportunity to do so in Leagues, and if you're watching this and you haven't played Leagues yet, getting to this point will definitely take less than a month, which is about how long Leagues will be active for at time of recording, which is October 16th. That's enough rambling about that. Tier 6 clear winner is Perfection. This one is so incredibly strong. Banker's Note is absolutely a meme. And then for tier 7, where I think I departed from the mainline setup, is a lot of people with melee were going specialist, which I was very intrigued with doing because you get 50% more damage on your special attacks. You get a free spec every 15 seconds, so you can use something like a Saradomin sword that's also doing 50% damage for free, and you can really go hog wild with a lot of the combos and whatnot. You also get a free special attack, so if there's an annoying one you don't want to go get on an iron, you can change it to whichever one you want at any time at a bank or whatever. So if you don't want to go get something like D-Claws or a stat hammer, which you don't need a stat hammer per se if you're soloing, but if someone's using an off style, then you would. You can just switch to it. I have to go get Dragon Claws still. It is kind of annoying, but I went with Ascension because I saw this effect right here where it's a 5% chance to increase your combat stats to 255. I remember when the original 255 stat bug existed, and I never got to play with it because I didn't fully understand how it worked, but I remember seeing a few record kills that used it, and I wanted to relive that experience that I never got to way back in the day, and that's the only reason I really picked Ascension. Also, not having to go get Grim and getting a bunch of random god book procs, this one is really strong. It's a lot of fun, and in my opinion, for anyone who is relatively seasoned with RS3 or even has a relatively basic understanding of PVM, these are the two you're going to want to pick between, because Everlasting Faith, while it is strong, the other ones are a bit too strong to really argue with, in my opinion. I don't really see a reason for picking Everlasting Faith other than just fully neutralizing any ability of a boss and playing it ultra safe. I could see this maybe for someone who picked the Necromancy setup and they just want to play fully safe and allow them to get out the first boss nerves. Like when you go to a new boss for the first time and you have those nerves, you just want to work those out in a bunch of different places. I could see you doing it with a Necromancy Relic and Everlasting Faith, but anyone who just wants to crank out a bunch of damage definitely is going to pick between these two. And overall, I feel like they've gone very conservative with the relics just to get kind of a foothold in understanding, a data point on the graph, so to speak. And hopefully for the next league, they really pick up these ones that you select and make them a lot stronger, and then add a lot of the current stuff into passive effects. And speaking of picking relics, you obviously have to earn the points in order to pick these, so that'll lead us into the tasks. And a lot of these tasks I'm fine with. Like, there is a bunch of tasks you could actually do, but I wish a lot of bosses and a lot of PVM side had more tasks than they do. Like, Glaycor only has a few tasks. I don't think Solak has many at all, if any, and it seems like a lot of bosses don't have actual point value tasks for like getting certain drops or getting maybe some combat achievement has a point task tied to it. And that's something I really think that they're missing out on this league. Is the reason anyone would play RS3 is for its one-of-a-kind combat system. It is second to none in my opinion, and it's what's kept me around for over 15,000 hours of PVM. So I would have liked to see a lot more combat focused tasks. Like, Glaycor is probably the best learning boss in game because all the mechanics are on a separate thing. You're never dealing with multiple mechanics at once, and it's very transparent and will teach you those mechanics and how they work. So if the goal of the league is to bring a bunch of people into the game and showcase the combat system, Glaycor is definitely just an easy dub for tasks. Again, I hope this is cleared up in leagues too. I'm not super upset with a lot of the stuff in leagues. Overall, I've very much been enjoying the process of just kind of going around doing random stuff and building up my account. I just went through and maxed first, and then I started working on things like trim masterwork because I wanted to just have fun in this league. I haven't been super concerned about the PVM side. Like, all of my sweaty tryhard PVM, I already do that on the main game. And so for me, this league has been fun because I've just been able to go and explore the other parts of the game. I will say it's kind of kind of annoying that a lot of these quests aren't just auto completed off the bat. There's been a lot of them that I've had to do, but not feeling pressure to, like, say, not let my group down on a group iron or be a means to an end on my main account where I just need a new PVM upgrade, so I have to burn a bunch of quests. Being able to just go at my own pace and actually run through the quests on Leagues has actually made me enjoy them a bit more and start to understand the story behind RuneScape. I don't think I'll become a lore hound anytime soon, but I have been enjoying some of the story aspects in the quests. I've always liked the Dwarven quest line. I really discovered that on the group Iron Man. I think it's a really cool one. For this one, it was mostly working on the passive Pontifex Shadow Ring, or the enriched ring, getting that overcharge function. By the way, if you want the passive effect for the Elder God Wars ring, let me go see what it's actually called just to make sure I get this correct. The enriched Pontifex Shadow Ring. If you actually want the passive to work with this, what I had to do was complete up to City of Sentiston. If I can find it here in the, there it is in the quest list. I had to finish this quest, and then I had to go build my own it was like Pontifex Shadow Ring or something like that, and get all of the dialogue options to show up, and then I was able to get the option to overcharge the ring. But I have been enjoying the storyline through that one because, you know, it's like the end of Gielinor because the elder gods are returning because their eggs are hatching, and their eggs require like insane amounts of energy or something like that, and it destroys Gielinor. It seems like every 5 seconds some world-ending threat is coming to Gielinor, and it's just like teetering on this seesaw atop like this giant mountain, yet it somehow still exists. It's kind of wild, the entire story of RuneScape, but I digress. And some of you are probably wondering why I actually made Trim Masterwork over just rushing for vestments and doing the full BIS grind, and that's just because I honestly enjoy the mining and smithing skill and how they balance out with each other. I also like archaeology as just a chill skill. I do enjoy the idea of making my own armor. Now, I still don't think that you should be able to just craft best in slot armor from skilling alone. It should at minimum require a bunch of resources from very difficult endgame bosses if it was ever going to go that route. But being able to build up my own armor set for melee and basically just do the ungovernable build, as I'm calling it, with melee, because with the 10% passive healing, the soul split healing from flicking prayers, and just essentially never being able to get one shot because of Trim Masterwork's effect or the Masterwork effect in general, it's been very fun running this ungovernable setup, especially at some place like Glacor. Probably a bit earlier than I should have, but I do have the T95 Langs. I have an Easy K somewhere. There it is. I don't remember why it's not in this preset, but it is what it is. And I think next I might go get vestments, but again, I've just been doing essentially a blind playthrough of Leagues. And by that, I mean, I didn't follow any of the relics and what their powers were when they were getting released or before the League came out. I didn't follow any guides or any theory crafting or anything like that. I completely ignored all of that information, and I just logged into the League on release and just started casually playing through it. And I think doing this method for something like a League where it's a limited time game mode, who really cares? As long as you get whatever rewards you want out of it, all of this stuff is gonna go away. It's all temporary. There is no real reason to run through and just spam out, you know, all these collection logs and hunt for biz and min-max as fast as possible, because if I was gonna put that effort into Leagues, I would just much rather put that effort back into the main game and keep working on my account there where the progress is saved. Here I'm just kind of exploring, and I've very much enjoyed the change of pace with this League. And I would encourage you guys to do the same. Of if you honest to God love rushing endgame PVM gear and min-maxing it, by all means do that. I'm not saying don't. All I was really saying is that that's not how I want to play a limited time game mode, and it is just some food for thought of try out new things on League, play different aspects of the game that you wouldn't normally on the main game, and try not to min-max min-max it too hard. But before I talk in even more circles and ramble on for another, like, however long this video ends up being, I'm gonna call the video there. Thank you very much for watching. Your viewership is greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will see y'all next time for the next video. Peace.